Do you feel like your mind is racing and you can't manage to calm it down? I've got the perfect pattern here to teach you that will help you just slow everything down and give you a bit of distraction to help you relax. I am Lisa Crow of Create and Calm with Lisa, and I'm just going to get started here, putting some dots in the corners of this tile. So once you've got your dots, we are going to basically connect these all into a border, and then I'm going to create a square grid inside, splitting it vertically down the centre, halving that again and on the other side, and then repeat that. I don't think I've yet said this tangle, it's not so much a tangle, I don't think, so much as a pattern, because as far as I am aware, the person who deconstructed this pattern isn't a Zentangle teacher. I found this pattern on Tangle YouTube channel, Annie Reiser. And when I was watching Annie Reiser's video, she was explaining that Sue Heinz, who created this, is actually a quilter. So I don't think it was created from a point of view of Zentangle. But it's a very, very nice tangle to create. So what we're going to do now, in each of these squares that we've created, we're going to draw an orb shape that's fairly central in each of them. I've just got mine a few millimeters in size. It's not all that big. Just do that in every single one. Now, I just felt like doing this in this blue pen. It's a Uniball I Micro, and this pen, I might regret using it. I love the colour of it, and I love how it's one of those pens that the ink just runs quite freely, which is good. But if you're tangling, it is quite easy to smudge it if you run your hand over a bit that hasn't yet dried. But we'll go with it. So once we have all of the orb shapes in these squares, we are going to just do this in every other square. We're going to have a line that goes from the top of that tile to meet that orb, and then do that on the other side. So it's kind of to the left of the orb going up to the top border, and the right going down to the bottom. And we'll do that in every other square. Just take your time. So once you have all of the orbs completed, as much as you can complete them, rotate your tile 90 degrees, and then we're just going to repeat the exact same thing again on all the remaining orbs. And when you see this pattern completed, it looks sort of complicated, but as I'm hopefully going to demonstrate for you, it's not actually all that complicated to do it. So we are now going to do a series of auras. If you're not familiar with the Zentangle terminology, an aura is just where we're basically mimicking the previous line. It's almost like we're doing a halo of the previous line. So this it's like a 9 here. We're doing an aura, so that we're going to basically draw about 3 lines coming out of here. So you draw the first line and then aura that one and aura that one. And you can see I've not got mine as consistently spaced as they could be, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to do that in each of these things. 3 auras just seems to be pretty much perfect when I'm drawing this. I mean, if you might end up with 2 auras or 4 auras, but I think I quite like how it looks with the 3. It's going to end up, this tangle or pattern, it's going to end up as if the lines are going over and under one another in a kind of Celtic knot way. So that's why we're trying to be fairly consistent with how far apart that they're actually spaced out. So much fun to do this tangle. I really enjoy doing auras. It's like you don't really have to think about what you're doing, because the previous line that you've created will tell you where you need to be putting your pen. So then we are going to turn the tile 90 degrees and then repeat this again. So we'll basically be doing this series of 3 auras pretty much 4 times. Hang on, is that right? Yeah, I think so. And like I say, if you haven't got yours spaced consistently apart, it doesn't really matter. Just the benefit of doing that is you're a bit more mindful if you're trying to do that, because what I'm kind of getting at is it's as if these lines are kind of the same line. I don't know if I'm probably not articulating that properly, but just the slower that you can create these lines, the more relaxed that you'll feel. I really do enjoy this tangle. I'd completely forgotten about it, and a couple of weeks ago, I think it would have been, I was kind of looking ahead for the rest of the year to see what tangles or patterns that I should teach for the remainder of the year in my channel, because I do a video every Wednesday. Well, it goes live every Wednesday, but I film it before then. And yeah, I came across this, and I'll show you the samples of the previous ones that I've created. But there's one that I did, and it's all different colours, and it just looks really cool. So I think you'll like it as well. But today I'm creating this on a, if you can't quite see it on camera, it's a tan tile. It's not, I don't think it's the same tan tile that Zentangle use, but it is a kind of pale tan. It's a really nice one to work with. So if you've been watching my channel, you'll probably know that I really love working with tan tiles. Shading is so much fun, but when you add highlight as well, it's just another dimension altogether. So you might potentially look, I've not drawn this myself in this way, but you could potentially have each of these aura lines in different colours. That might be quite fun. Maybe I'll have a try at that later on once I've finished this video. But there are lots of possibilities with this tangle. But you can see what I mean here is that it's as if this line here is disappearing under this one, so as if this line is just continuing on. And then we bring it down here as if it's continuing under here. And my lines might not necessarily meet up, but it's okay. It's going to look really cool anyway. But that's the kind of illusion that we're looking for, as though the lines do continue around in a loop, so that these lines are all like one big square. Oh, I wanted to thank everybody that's been watching my channel, because the other day I was actually eligible to become a YouTube partner. So what that will mean for me is that I'm not quite at the stage where I can monetize just for people watching my video, but I am eligible to start memberships and to have a YouTube shop. So I might end up having exclusive content, you know, where people could pay. It wouldn't be that much that I would charge, but it would be you know, only the members would have access to the live stream content. So you would get extra lessons that other people didn't have. And also I'm going to have my shop there. So there'll be things like possibly mugs or sweatshirts that you could buy. I'm kind of still ironing out all that information myself, but I do have that possibility now because I've got to the eligibility criteria. I'm not wording that correctly, I know, but I am very, very appreciative for anybody who's taken the time to watch my videos. It really, really does. I just really, really appreciate it so much. So thank you very much. So when you are completed all of those shapes, what you can do now is to, I think I'm going to put this pen down for a moment, and this is a jelly roll, a metallic jelly roll. I can't remember if they're called Stardust, don't quote me on that, but it's a kind of royal blue, navy blue, somewhere in the middle, metallic jelly roll. And I'm just going to use that jelly roll to fill in these orbs here. And you could try putting these orbs to be a different colour altogether than the colour that your ink is for the auras, but I think I'm going with the blue theme. I quite like that. Just taking your time. Like, I hurried a little bit and I smudged outside the line, but we'll live with that. So I'm going to put down that pen, and then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to ink in the space here, but I am going to ink in the space inside. This is something that you could leave if you don't want to do this. I certainly have one example where I didn't ink in the background. And something that's just come to me just now as I've been filming this is that you could potentially put a little Zen gem in here. Just kind of round off the circles. And then the circles round off the corners. Like so. And then you could have a Zen gem, even if you don't use it as a colouring, you know, don't colour it in with colouring pencils. You could use a graphite pencil or a pastel pencil. But I'm going to just ink mine in completely for this particular tile. So yeah, going back to chat about my shop, I will also have my pre-recorded lessons. I've been talking about selling pre-recorded lessons for the longest time, pretty much just like I was talking about doing my YouTube channel for ages before I actually did it. So I will get there. I've filmed, I've mentioned previously in the last few weeks that I've filmed the kind of content that I need for my introduction to Zentangle YouTube course. Not YouTube course, just pre-recorded course, Introduction to Zentangle. But I'm yet to do the actual editing bit, because normally when I put my videos out for YouTube, I just kind of have the camera rolling and there's not really editing involved in it. Whereas this one, because it's like a paid thing, and I don't want to just have it too dull. You know, I want to have images superimposed over the top while I'm talking, and so yeah, that will be coming soon, and I imagine that I would be able to sell that via my YouTube channel if people would be interested in buying that. So look out for that if that's something that you would be interested in, but I'll obviously mention if it's actually on the shop when it is. So once we've got the background inked in, you could decide that you want to ink in these bits here, but like I say, I'm just leaving mine. You could join these 3 bits here with a straight line if you want, or you could kind of add like a kind of backwards C shape. I quite like the effect that you get with the backwards C shape. But it's just to let you know you've got a couple of options for joining that. You could just put a straight line and be done with that. I'm quite enjoying the peace and quiet just now because Isla's still on her summer holiday from school. And this morning she is with my sister. She'll be with my sister for the next few hours, and then my sister has, sadly she has a funeral to attend this afternoon, so I'll be looking after my 2 little nephews, Louis and Otis. Louis 3 and Otis is not long turned 1, and Isla. So I'll have my hands full this afternoon. So, just moving on to do some more shading. Now, if you had a pastel pencil, it would be absolutely gorgeous if you shaded this in with the blue pastel pencil. In fact, I'm just looking to see if I've got mine handy, because I can maybe do, rather than just doing standard graphite, this is kind of more of a teal, but I think it'll look good. So, just anywhere that there's an edge, I am going to put the pencil in there. just, you know, as if like there's a bit that looks like it's going under another bit. And I like to try to put my pencil so that I'm pointing the pencil towards the bit where I'm putting the shading or highlighting down. So I will kind of turn my tile as I go. That's an edge bit. I'm sure I'm going to miss so many of these bits. But I'll catch them eventually. All right. It's almost like a puzzle, seeing where you've put pastel pencil down and where you're still to put it. Definitely bits that I've missed. There we go. Okay, I think that's all of the bits that I want to add. And then we're literally just taking, this is obviously a tortillon that's only had the blue pastel pencil in it. And just smoothing that out. And then not, you know, smoothing it too far out because we want to leave a little highlight here. Such a fun tangle to do. Really, really love this one. I would actually really like to see, I should maybe see if Annie Reiser mentions in her video where you can see Sue Heinz's original pattern. I think she maybe does. Just the fact that Sue Heinz has hers as a quilt, and obviously this is something that I'm tangling rather than sewing. It would be quite cool to see it in the format of being on a quilt. What I'd say, like, you can see some of these bits of pastel pencil where I've maybe been leaning slightly too heavily with the pastel pencil and it's leaving a bit of a harsh line that's not really wanting to smooth itself out. So just always be mindful whether it's pastel pencil or graphite pencil. that you less is more. You know, you can always add a little bit more if you want a bit more of a dramatic effect. But if you put down too much initially, it can be hard to smooth it out properly. So there we go with the pastel pencil, and that's looking really, really cool. I really love that. And you could like add, I think in this instance, I think I'll probably just leave it. But sometimes like when I've done pastel pencil, I still go in with the graphite just to kind of add a little bit more. Do you know what? I think I actually will. So just kind of take a look at it now and see what you think, whether you prefer it like this or like, you know, with the graphite added, and then you can make a fully informed decision before you do your own. So it's just the exact same process as before. The same places where I put down the pastel pencil, I'm just going in with the graphite now. So it's just to add some more shade, and this kind of changes it a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say it makes it better or worse, it's just different. Sometimes I do just have the pastel pencil on its own. Right, so then just coming in, I've already missed a couple of bits. So just coming in now with the tortillon or the blending stump that you have for your graphite. I just think it's almost like it just makes it look a bit more, I don't know if complex is the right word, but it's just different. I really like the effect that you get from it. So just smooth that out on each and every bit where you've added that. There are some bits where I've not put down the graphite, but I'm just using the blending stump directly over those bits rather than putting down fresh pencil lines, because you do pick up graphite on the blending stump, so you can use the graphite, the blending stump almost as the pencil, if you see what I'm getting at. So if you've seen any of my previous videos on fragments and reticula, this is an example of that kind of a pattern where the reticula is a grid essentially. So the reticula would just be the square grid that we had created in pencil, and then each of these individual square grids had the orb and then the auras on them. So that's just basically what I mean by the fragments and reticula. You could, by all means, leave it exactly as it is here. I'm going to come in, because I can, I'm going to come in with my white pastel pencil just to add a little bit of highlight. Remembering when you're doing this at home not to rush through it. Just enjoy the process. I could honestly get lost in tangling. I was looking into, I'm starting an Etsy shop. I've opened the shop already, but I haven't got anything up for sale in it yet. But I was looking through some old tiles that I haven't done anything with, and looking at them and thinking, oh, I could actually put that on a greeting card. So I was just working on embellishing the tangles that I had, so that I had some ink on the actual greeting card as well as on the tile itself, like as if the tile extended out onto the greeting card. So I was doing a lot of that, and then because I'm kind of thinking of incorporating my calligraphy on the Etsy products that I sell, I'm just looking to see, sorry, my tortillon for my white pencil has just disappeared. Where has it gone? Right, let me see if I can find another tortillon that I can use for the white bits. Yeah, so I was looking into doing my calligraphy again, and calligraphy and Zentangle are my two all-time favourites for my hobbies. I mean, I love doing Celtic knots as well and mandalas, but I think the top two, calligraphy and Zentangle. So I would imagine that I'm going to have a mix of the Zentangle design and calligraphy in my Etsy shop. I'll get there with all of these things. I've spoken for such a long time about the pre-recorded videos and Etsy. But I got there with YouTube, so I'll get there with the other stuff as well, won't I? Just keep on keeping on, and I'll get there. I love that. I think that looks so cool. So what I quite often do with my tiles when I'm finished all the shading and the highlighting is that I just go, I'm not going to retrace every single line, but I'm going to do the outside lines of each of these orbs just to restate them, or as Rick and Maria say, add a little love, because these lines can get faded when you do the highlighting and the shading. And this bit is really relaxing because you don't have to wonder where you should be doing everything. You're just literally tracing over the top of lines that you've already created. So it's relaxing. And also apologies if I sound a bit nasal today. Last night I started sneezing and my husband was telling me, oh, it's your hay fever, but I couldn't fathom why I would start getting hay fever late evening. I mean, we were practically like ready for closing the curtains because it was getting that late. So I said, no, I feel like this is a cold. And I was feeling a bit shivery, and I'm not feeling ill today, but I do still feel like not quite myself. So I think it might be affecting my voice a little bit. This thing that I'm doing now is quite a subtle difference, but I do think it's worth doing it. It looks lovely when it's all done. It starts to look quite dramatic almost. It's really, really cool. And if you kind of slightly go off the line that you're meant to be tracing over, you can just obviously ink in a little bit. Just take your time, and then you hopefully shouldn't have to do that. So I think that's no, we've still got these ones to do. So you don't actually have to retrace the orbs in the middle, because in the process of retracing your original lines, you'll get the orb as well. Oops. Wow, I don't know about you, but I love that. So I'm just going to pop my chop here. I'm going to add a little bit of pencil just to shade. You don't need to do this on your own chop. Rush Hour by Sue Heinz. And I'll show you now the previous examples that I have of this tile. So this is one I did just this morning, just to kind of, I don't know, just to go over it again. So that's obviously, I've not coloured in, just like I'd coloured in these blue bits today, whereas I left that background uninked. And I've obviously used a gold pen for the orbs instead of the blue. This one, this looks quite dramatic because it's all black on the background, and this one, you can see like where these orbs are. I've got like a red pastel pencil, then I've got orange and then yellow, and I think all those colours worked really well together. They look really cool, but you could try different colour combinations. And then this one is not like, I think I maybe need to see if I can smooth these lines out. I don't even know if I'm finished this. I think it definitely like kind of have the option to smooth those lines out a little bit more. I don't think that was graphite. I think that was charcoal, which I don't normally work with, but I think I was wanting to try that out and see how it would work. So I think once this is smoothed out and those darker bits aren't so harsh, I think that's going to look really, really cool as well. So thank you so much for joining along today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you feel nice and calm, if you've tried it out, give me a wee like, and I'll hopefully see you at one of my future lessons as well. So I hope you have a good week ahead, and thanks again. Bye.